Hello. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Welcome to Divine and Conqueror's ReRoll podcast. Oh, that's my phone that has volume. Apologies. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
It can't be a D&C stream without there being some audio thing happening in the
One
background.
day we're making a shirt that says that. Just for us.
It's just for us 10, us 14. But yeah, hey guys. This is where we discuss things that tend to be related to role-playing and Dungeons & Dragons and all that jazz. Tonight's discussion is going to be about patrons. Your role-playing your warlocks, clerics, and paladins. And that sort of thing. So, but before we jump to the subject, as per usual, do any of the players and or GMs here have any questions for the rest of the cast? Oh wait, I always forget to do this. Because we don't have cameras. So we have a Jesus, that's me. We have a Vic, that's
I'm in the walls.
There we go, they're in the walls. We have a Dickie.
Hey.
And then we have a Tabby. You don't have to speak Tabitha if you don't want to, I guess that's fine.
I'm in the corner.
She's silently speaking in tongues right now.
Oh, great! This is a perfect podcast for you.
Head craned at a 90-degree angle to the ceiling as I only see the whites of her eyes, and she's communing with something. I don't know.
Perfect. Love it. Love it. All right. So, hey guys. Do you guys have any points of discussion for last week's game?
Congratulations on getting Reefer back.
Congrats.
That's true. That was a.
My comment on that is holy shit. We had a plan. We came in. We certainly did not stick to it, but by God, we pulled something off.
We survived, bitches.
We had a plan.
Yes.
Well, let me clarify this. I think people had plans that they did not discuss amongst the players.
Exactly. So we individually had plans, but we did not have a full plan.
I was still formulating it while we were in the middle of everything.
I think Orc Death is kind of a let's see what happens guy.
Basically.
Yeah.
It's like, let's not poke the giant eyeball thing.
But it has a giant eyeball. You have to poke it.
It's
right
true.
There.
It is true.
I
had to look up, can beholders be blinded? They're not immune to blindness. All right, this can work.
They got one giant eyeball.
They did got one giant eyeball. This will work.
Yeah, but the problem is the one that you had didn't have an eyeball.
Yeah.
We didn't think that through, but
No.
As I'm reading through chat right now, we are being told you came in, you had a plan, and collectively pulled it out your ass.
That's true.
Technically.
That's true.
A proctologist's dream.
I was kind of scared at a moment there. If you guys did not put two people away, essentially.
We're scared?
Yes, because if you guys, if Braum was not put into the bag of holding, and technically, the statue, because you can use it as a statue of Carabao, because it's still a construct. If you guys didn't do that, I would have to have rolled, I believe, a d10 to determine who would have been stuck in that plane, as the rest of you guys teleported. Because as soon as Ariel opened up the spear, the spell is casted. It cannot be undone, and in the next 6 seconds, that's it.
Okay, so what you're saying is shout out to Jeremiah for being the smartest boy in the game.
Yeah,
and he did both of those things.
I throwing out ideas left and right. I could just imagine Rog and Cole being like, "Do this, do this." No,
Ragnar and Cole collectively hold the singular brain cell of the party.
Just passing it around.
Ariel thinks he's holding it, but what happened was that Cole handed him a rock and said this was the brain cell. So Ariel's holding on to it, believing he has the brain cell.
That's funny. I like that. I am very excited of what's happening.
I'm so excited for next game. I have so many questions, and I'm running through a million things about what Wes could do in the next 5 seconds, and one of them is book it into the woods.
Sure.
He does not like where he's at right now.
I would ask for you to please find the woods first.
Okay. I'm gonna just close my eyes, spin in a circle, and run that direction.
Honestly,
Right off a cliff.
the entirety of right now is the idea that we're in. Granted, yes, it looks like a battlefield.
It's
Or what
Stormlord
used to be.
territory,
Yeah.
therefore it is bad, according to West.
It is Stormlord territory, and there's a whole bunch of dead Stormlords, except for one large man who has a very thick beard. And Goliaths don't tend to have beards, and has
No, they don't, man.
it's a very specific dwarven belt.
Yeah, man.
And,
What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, no, we'll just. It's like, oh my god, son lays on the ground.
I can
in the
imagine
grass like a
Cole.
cat.
Yeah, I can imagine Cole rolling in the grass like a cat that's being let outside for the first time.
Yeah, that makes sense to
Of course,
me.
everybody tells me, Cole, don't do that. There's a bunch of dead bodies.
Cole,
around.
no, there's corpses out there. I don't care. I'm gonna roll in the grass because it's sunny.
Yeah, I do want you guys to note that I described it as there's Goliaths littered everywhere,
Yes,
which is interesting
that is very interesting.
because they're Stormlords and they tend not to fall easy.
Yeah, they are very difficult bastards
Yeah.
unless West is in the field.
We'll see. We'll see.
Look, the last time we were fighting Stormlords. Oy.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was an interesting situation.
That was a very interesting situation that probably does not play into anything happening in our current predicament.
Not one bit.
Not one bit. Hey Tabitha, how did you feel blasting a hole through your abusive ex in Horde of the Dragon Queen?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Invigorating. Granted,
Yes.
in Sacred World, I also crit on a guiding.
Yes, you did.
I crit on a guiding
Okay.
bolt on
This
Monday.
week was the critting week.
Oh my god, Jeremiah's double crit. I can't believe that.
Jeremiah's
But,
double crit, Tabitha's crit in both games. On the
I'm-
Sunday game, we had a lot of natural 20s.
My god.
It's just
It's so wild.
yeah.
Yeah, and my conclusion that I am drawing here is that Tabitha should not be allowed to play a cleric because she's absolutely dangerous as a cleric.
Hey man,
Hey,
if it ain't
Jamba-
fixed, don't break it.
Java's a
If it ain't fixed, don't break it. There you go. Love it.
her punch.
I mean,
So
hey,
it evens out in a way.
so what's Cole's weakness?
Water.
His goddamn strength. Don't have him roll anything.
Yeah, he's pretty dinky
Jesus,
for
knowing this now is
he's-
gonna be
he's
like,
pretty-
Hey, Cole.
yeah, he's
roll
pretty-
me strength.
he's pretty dinky for a cleric.
Huh?
He's pretty dinky for a cleric. Clerics usually have like a little bit of strength to them.
Yeah. He's
Usually,
a nerd,
I will say
so
usually.
That's why he doesn't have strength.
Oh, that's right. You're the book smart nerd. You're the book
Yes.
smart cleric. You have the
Uh,
manual on how to be a cleric 101.
Dude.
Sorry. That's just good. So, I'm excited to see what the next arc takes us because it's going to focus on different characters now.
I'm
and-
excited to see where how you guys are gonna finish off this Horde of the Dragon Queen campaign. You guys are
Yeah.
almost there.
It feels like we're close, and then Grayson just disappears. It's like, great, we're at the end. The big baddie is right there. Oh wait,
That
your
was,
player disappeared.
Yep.
Side quest. Here we
That
go.
was- Side quest. It's a minor detour. You're still in the castle. It's fine.
It's fine. We're only like 300 feet up in the air.
Yeah,
in
no, it's
a
alright.
cloud giant's castle with a white dragon somewhere around, surrounded
Hey,
by
you have not
cultists.
You have not seen neither the White Dragon nor the Cloud Giants. So
That's true.
I think you guys are doing pretty great.
They're somewhere around.
In the castle.
Yeah, you can't miss them if you saw them.
There's the cloud giants aren't my concern. It's the red concern.
Huh, did I say there were red wizards on this castle?
From what we heard from
Yeah, the chanting's kind of.
someone.
Jamna.
Jamna.
Well, I would say from your perusing through a specific tower.
Yeah.
We're there.
Which, remember, we have a strategy for that tower. Fox is very clear. If you need a poop here.
Yes.
Poop on the wizard's book. They won't be able to use it. I think it's
That's a
a
good
flawless strategy. I don't see
That's a
anything.
that's a very flawless strategy. You might be onto something, Fox.
It's not, Fox is a clever man.
Did Fox come up with that one, or did Spud come up with that plan?
Fox spoke up because Spud was thinking about it.
Okay, Spud was thinking it, but like Fox said it first.
Yeah, it's a they're both on the same wavelength.
Yes.
Except no, they're both on the same wavelength.
Oh, for sure.
Just one's really vocal and rude, and the other one's very polite and sticks to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just imagine just Fox just walking in. There's a great worm, just like, hey, stop being a bad person. And then, in his mind, done. The mission is complete. I talked to them. I told them to stop being bad.
Did good.
I did good. And then campaign ends. Let's go to Rise Tiamat.
Yep, moving on. Okay.
Yeah. Go straight into Tiamat's fight.
Right into Act 2.
Fox just walks in. Hey, stop being bitch. Hits her with the cane,
Whacks
walks
her.
out.
Whacks like one of the heads with a cane.
Stop it.
Done.
Can a roll
Bad.
handle animal? No, they're a god. Yeah, but they have...
They're a
practically
dragon, though. They're a
They're
dragon.
technically a dragon. It's one body. I can talk to them. Don't worry. I got this. It's like that old man in slippers. Just like, get out of my lawn!
Get out of my lawn!
Oh, man.
Dang, Tiamat.
God dang Tiamat and your 5 dragon heads. Back in my day, you only had 1 dragon head. But, so... if you guys have no idea what we're talking about, go watch our stuff. It's on the YouTubes. Link
it's
down
on
below.
YouTubes.
Yeah, it's on the YouTubes. So let's talk about patrons.
Yes.
So, which this I feel that as I was writing the notes for this, it's gonna feel very Warlock, and I think it's because Warlocks have at least in the creation from the player.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot more control than a cleric or a paladin.
Right.
Because the clerics and paladins did either you're following, like, let's say, Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms. You're following a specific pantheon, and those rules are preset from the books that you're reading. So, I mean, you can bend a few things here and there. Like, if you're following a good god, you don't have to be a goody-goody two-shoes. You just have to... make whatever that god represents or whatever that god wants be publicly known and appease the god enough for the god to give you magic. But warlocks, you kinda, unless you didn't, which we'll get to that one in a minute, but you kinda had a say in it. So it's more like the more control over the player over where they get their supernatural abilities. And I want to note that there is a difference between divine magic and arcanic magic. And clerics, paladins, druids, all these other people that have a specific worship or unison with something tend to have divine magic. But I believe warlocks are arcane, which is weird as heck to me. Because
Warlock's just weird.
Warlocks are weird because everything about them feels divine in the aspect of like those two for magic sense, but it's just they're arcanic, and also they're just weird as they only have 2 spells.
Hey man, we're 2 trick ponies. It's okay.
It's like your big daddy was like, here, don't spend it all in one place. Here's your allowance for the day, 2 spells. Use it wisely.
But Dad,
You can only get 2. Alright.
but the wizard's got like 10.
Well, alright, you take a short rest and I'll give you some more again. But only 2. So questions on how, like, where should I start if I want to do one of these? There are, I think, the classic 4 for patrons, which the classic one is Fiendish. Some contracts, some
Good old bread and butter.
some devilish Contract, yeah, I guess. And then there's the old ones, just some Cthulian entity, something not of this plane of existence that has been trapped that wants to get out. And there are the flavored texts of like the Fae and the Celestial, which are pretty cool. I think Fae Pats with like Archphase is a pretty sweet flavor to have.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff with Archfey.
Yes, they are. And Celestials, I feel that it's those are differentiating from Cleric and Paladin. I think Celestial contracts with like for Warlock specifically is more like you have no choice.
Ooh, so what? Okay, so there is also another one. There's also like several other little flavors to
Yes, the undead,
to the Warlock packs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's undead. There's an interesting one I find is the Celestial one.
Yes. Yes, we're just talking about that one, Pig.
Yes.
We just said Celestial.
We just said Celestial.
We just said it. Were you not?
I was reading.
Okay, cool. Then good. Then we're on the same page.
I was just reading, man. God.
You're good. You're good.
I'm the West brain cell's active. I can only focus it at one thing action at a time.
Yay. We have a message from chat saying that warlocks are both divine and arcanic, but neither at the same time. I know they're freaking weird.
Weird. Warlocks are just weird, man.
So I think the pinnacle moment for any of these classes that you have to discuss with your DM is why you? Why were you the special one? Like, what moment in time led you to this pact?
Because I coerced him into it.
Because I talked Daddy into it. No.
I told him to do it.
I
bothered him too much.
That one might be for somebody I know. A little tiny tiefling boy. It's like what moment in time led Cole into worshiping Farlagon? Like, and it's not necessarily like a worship that they have, right, Cole? Because there's thousands and millions of individuals that worship the gods, but you are granted the ability to physically manifest miracles. Cure wounds, by all definitions, is a miracle. Any level 1 spell is a miracle. You healed someone from death out of nothing. Like, that is amazing. Why were you picked? So Cole,
shotting an Eldritch Blast and missing on both accounts with advantage is a miracle.
Yes. Both West and Stranger. Yes.
Oh god, that was great.
So, what was Stranger's pinnacle moment into him having his patronage?
Oh, that's actually a really interesting one. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever play him in a campaign at any given point, but
Sure.
Essentially when I built him, I kind of was like into the idea of that, just the tragic character that plays it off with the like not the typical nihilistic approach as you see most characters having, where like I feel nothing, everything sucks, nothing matters. He's just like, hey, we're all gonna fucking die one day, nothing matters. Kick flips off a skateboard and keeps going. I have no consequences, but it was one of those things where it was his pact was mostly forged from when you're backed into a corner and you're desperate enough to do anything to get out of that corner. So he ended up garnering the attention of Dendar, the Night Serpent, because her whole thing is nightmares and fear, and so. How is it that this one specific tiefling child is garnering so much fear, and like how is all this circulating around him and stuff, which is completely the product of the abusive household he was raised in. So she kind of took that as a chance to kind of be like, all right, because elder ones are kind of, I guess you could say, whimsical. They do things that don't make sense to us of this plane. They have their plans, they have their reasonings, but they just don't make sense to us.
Yeah, I have notes under the older world contracts that there does not need to be something logical. Insanity is completely reasonable. It doesn't need to make sense,
Yep.
and they tend to be sleeping a lot.
Oh yeah, all the time. So essentially, it was just one of those moments where it was like, "Hey, let me offer you a thing. Eat this scale of mine. Become one of my followers. Gain otherworldly powers, and instill the fear that you have felt your entire life into those that you hate. Boom. Have fun. Go get him, Tiger.
Go get him.
Go get him, and then burnt his entire house down and killed everyone inside of it, and then he's moved on. So,
Yeah. That's how
break
it
a few
works.
eggs, get some otherworldly power.
And that's usually how it go. Well, for warlocks at least, it tends to be some sort of a, you do this for me, I'll do this for you. Which I'll do this for you tends to be your entire class.
Yeah, and I feel like with the, especially with the Eldritch ones, it's a matter of so you did this for me. Here's you gave me this power. So what do I have to do for you? Don't worry about it. When I need the favor, you'll know.
Yes.
It's like, great, all right, thanks.
It does leave
Then it pops up like 2/3 of the way through campaign, and then they go, knock knock. Guess what?
I need this thing.
I need this thing. Oh, does this conflict with your party's reasoning? That's a shame.
Because that has nothing to do with me.
It's like, I don't care about that. You're gonna do this thing for me.
It's like the IRS. I don't care.
I don't care. Give me your money you don't have.
Yeah. I think that these three, well, we kind of other words here and there, but
Yeah.
it does have a specific relationship between the GM and the player, because
Right.
you guys have to be working constantly to to make this a thing. Every now and then, I like to throw for the warlocks here and there the specific like odd requests. Like at the beginning of a Sacred World, one of the players, they were a warlock, but they specifically, it's like, these are the things I want to do. Have fun with it. Don't tell me who my big daddy is. And so at the end of the day, their big daddy was Beelzebub.
Nice.
So-
Oh, that's right. The flies.
Yes, which you guys saw a little bit of that in the campaign.
Yeah, that's right. I remember Wes being like, "That's fucking weird. I don't like that."
Yeah, and it's one of the things that they had to do was they were starting to eat just raw flesh, and it started evolving into not just raw flesh, but paper covered blood was what they needed to eat to keep their subsistence. Because like a fly, they kind of just will roam around in those things. And the cool thing is, secretly, which we never got to that point, every single piece of paper that they ate that was covered in blood eventually was going to be vomited or regurgitated back as like a scroll or an item, as like you did good, here you go. But
Nice.
we never
Very nice.
got there. It's unfortunately.
So what does vomiting fire slugs mean? Am I doing really good?
Yeah, that's a thing. We'll get to that one in a minute. That's a very specific thing that it will be discussed probably sooner than later.
Oh god. Okay.
But a good thing, like you were saying earlier, that will bring out the like roleplay in your players is the conflict and tension of, do your morals follow the ethics of the whoever's giving you this patronage? So maybe a little bit of definition with those two words, because they're in the same realm but don't mean the same thing. So like morals would be like society's boos and yays, like yay that's good, or boo we don't like that, versus ethics would be like a logical philosophical discussion of what is good and what is truth. So the person that is, well, not person, the entity that is giving you these magics has set rules. They have defined what you need to do. That's their ethics. That your morals conflict with that. Like if you're worshiping the god of slaughter, are you a murderer yourself, or is it just the people that you kill in fights, because D&D's kind of how that happens sometimes? Is that okay enough for your god to be like, you're cool, man? or are you subjected to do things that your party doesn't want? And so those would be great little like tension moments for your players, and what they need to do to keep them happy. Like for Wes, your contract is a funny word. Your contract's kind of loose as long as you're gathering information and gaining knowledge, which you are. You've learned to read. One of the requirements is pretty much to fight, and you do that constantly. So that is kind of, as a barbarian, you kind of check that box several times already. And you're actively going out and seeking information over who this is. So you're fulfilling everything, which means you have your powers. Versus like when Travis said bye to Cthulhu Eyeballs, they were like, yeah, I'm not going to give you any magic if you're not going to actively do what I'm asking you to do.
Right.
All right, all 7 levels of you, go by. We don't need that anymore. Mm-hmm. Which is an interesting concept. That
which I will say for specifically for West's terms and conditions, as we will call them.
The terms and conditions.
Terms and conditions. Who reads those? I bet Cole reads the iTunes terms and conditions.
He does.
Oh my god! Fun fact about Cole, guys.
Yes.
He sat and read every piece of information. Like, oh, okay.
He read the fine print of the contract.
Are you the person that when they're like in the restroom, they grab the shampoo bottle and start reading all the ingredients?
I bet he is.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Aw, Cole. Yeah, no. So basically, like speaking on the terms of West's contract, quote unquote contract, as we will say.
Yeah, it's just funnier to say that.
They shook on it.
Yeah, it was a mutual shaking.
Mutual shaking happened. It was certainly a moment of conflict for him in this last fight, actually, because it was essentially, I know what I'm told that I have to do, but I'm really scared right now, and I don't want I do not want anyone else to die in this Underdark. Mm-hmm. So if I'm running, am I breaking that contract? Am I breaking that trust that I have with somebody? Or do I live to fight another day and try to figure shit out from there?
Yeah,
so there was an internal conflict with that.
That was definitely a thing that I was pondering, but I don't think that in of itself would have broken it for things that we can discuss later, because you're still exploring it. So I'm not gonna spill all the beans just yet, but in a minute. And as a thing for you GMs, as you're building this relationship with your players on their patronage and their worship, just a word of advice: don't be flat out mean to your players, because they something as extreme that I have played in games for. One of which I think paladins are probably the most extreme out of all these individuals. That's why a lot of players tend to pick the neutral or the chaotic gods, because at least they have room to like do whatever. We did have a GM one time in our earliest plays where we had a strategy. The bard performs, the rogue goes out and steals. It was a pretty sweet gig. You get paid double. But the paladin, the player knew of this, and it was always one of those like, oh, looks what's going on over here. I guess I better turn away. Because they have to arrest their friends or be in conflict with them, or they lose all their powers. And it got to a point where like the DM or GM was, your opinions however you wanted to view them, it was like putting them in conflict where the thief needed to be a thief to escape or to do something, and there was some evil doing, and it's like, well, what is your paladin going to do? Make a perception check, see if you spot this. And it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you pushing them to fight each other? Right. But it builds a story. It depends on the situation. But it's just one of those things like, hey, don't beat them up because you view that Cthulhu should be worshipped this way versus how they view how Cthulhu should be worshipped. That's why that open communication is really good. And it's like how you guys, you initially write a backstory, give it to me, but it's always one of those things where like you can always evolve on it and keep going back to it. Like Cole is writing some things right now that I think is really, really cool. Ariel just sent me a couple of paragraphs over some things about his hometown, which I think are really cool because now you're there. So that same communication should spread on as you what is the next? I can turn undead now. How is my god going to give me that ability? How is he going to teach me how to do these amazing things? My Patreon is going to... I'm learning Eldritch Spear now. Like, how does she teach me to do this? Like, are my eyesight's enhanced? And, like, do I have sparkly vision now? Like, what's up? So, like, you should be constantly working with those things. And it is at least a cool guideline to follow, because for most individuals, like, let's say you're a ranger, right? Your ranger goes out into the woods, hunts, does their thing, studies, learns the art of the bow, learns how to survive on their own out there. And that's cool. They're rewarded for them being out there doing their thing. We lost a pick. But the your warlocks and stuff and these other classes, they need to appease these entities. So their class kind of consists on them appeasing, quote unquote, the DM or whatever those requirements are, which is, it's cool because you have a guideline of what you should follow. But it's also just like, one of those food for thought that don't punish them just because they're not doing what you think they should be doing. Have that open communication with them. But
also what counts is that if you got a DM that follows that rule, because a lot of times DMs get a little lazy, get a little lackadaisical, they just don't keep up with things, and sometimes in a heat of the moment the players kind of forget about certain situations.
That's true too.
And
it's that's why I like the idea that how we kind of do things here, and we're noticing that the streamers do it as well. The arcs, like these couple of games where we very heavily focus on this player, not only to make them stand out and like have the spotlight on them, but also it helps with those roleplay moments. Like, oh yeah, I forgot your ability is this, let me make an entire 2 games out of that one ability. It definitely helps out with that. So,
and I tell you what is like what you're doing now using D&D Beyond. You were able to catch a few things and let people know this is the situation, what we're supposed to be doing, and we're not doing it that way. So it's kind of catching yourself and getting the game back in order.
Yeah, exactly. As I'm scrolling down. So here, let's propose a question to you guys and anyone in chat. So, what happens if a character completely breaks their patronage?
Ooh, I love these questions.
Depends on the class.
Sure, yeah.
It depends on the patron.
Yeah, it also depends on the patron. I'm trying to think of how I can answer these questions.
I don't think that any if they break the contract, let's just say, like
oath,
their oath, they should not. This shouldn't be an easy thing for them to do. Like paladins have the Oathbreaker, which is your grim dark Batman like type of role playing.
I mean, typically, but you don't always have to play them like that.
You don't. I have had a super like 80s hippie that was an Oathbreaker.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Like that was a fun character.
Yeah, man, I just like didn't vibe with me, Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, a little bit meaner than Alistair, but pretty much like that.
Oh man, yeah. Oh god, I can't fathom Alistair being an Oathbreaker.
No,
we have grappled. He is a really good boy. Like Lynn and I have discussed in the past the possibilities of testing Alistair's faith and possibly the faith of other characters, and what they would do in a situation where if they had to choose between. It was a conversation of basically what would this character do if they had to choose between love, basically their heart, or the duty of their order, and that was a really fun conversation.
Is that right? Is that right?
Is very right, yeah.
As Cole and Ariel read something in the book of Avacent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, we're out of the Underdark now.
Yeah, you are. So remember how Ariel was like, hey man, you can just look at this book when we're not in the Underdark.
Yeah, that's also a thing.
Cole's gonna be like, gimme.
Give me book, let me read.
He wants to read it now.
I think it's an interesting question, because in every superhero movie or comic book that you read, there is that chapter, that arc of like the hero losing their powers. I
always love the fall from grace chapters, because you get to it's the act 2 basically. You get to see, okay, you have somebody who was at the height of their game who thought that they had it handled, and then the rug is pulled out from under them. Now what do you do? You're already at the bottom. Where do you go?
Yeah.
Is there a further bottom?
Vic, there's always a further bottom.
Yeah, there's the Underdark. And then past the Underdark is the Abyss. And then past that...
the bottomless pit.
Yeah, those are... Moving on, because those are things that you guys will learn about. Oh, let's use this to drink my water. I was thinking
Vic know the things Wes does not.
Yes, these are facts. I like Snake Way. It's very interesting.
Snake Way is very interesting.
Snake Way is very interesting. I was thinking about like other things that maybe like moving away specifically from like traditional like medieval fantasy. And I was thinking like body hacks. Like Cyberpunk is coming out soon, right? The Cyberpunk 2077, the video game. Like technically, something could like a Warlock or a Cleric, something greater or other, having a somewhat conversation with you, and out of this deal, you have abilities now. That is very Ghost in the Shell in my view. If you just change it up a bit, like it could be supernatural, because a lot of these things tend to be, but it could all just be mechanical as well, like cyber hacking, and your body is now forced to do something, but you're getting these like abilities. Maybe they're like addicting qualities to that. Like
I've always liked high sci-fi, if that's the term to put, where it's like so like technologically advanced. If you brought it into our day and age, it could be perceived as magic with just how advanced it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's I was such.
And also you can kind of twist it, because like in Thor, their magic was considered science here.
Yeah.
So it can go either way.
Yeah, I don't know why I always had a.
It's magic.
Magic.
It's magic.
A disposition for like high sci-fi, if that's the correct term, like your cyberpunks and I never understood why I like Star Wars until it's like, oh, it's written like a freaking medieval fantasy tale. Yeah. So, but I never was into any of that stuff. I don't know why. And old school D&D had a lot of space adventures and your space hamsters and your elder beings. And for some reason, I was always just something that like I never got into. But as I grew older, I'm like, it's pretty cool. I like it.
So like in the realm of that, one of my favorite sci-fi adventures is the video game Mass Effect, where it's essentially a deep space adventure.
Yes.
You have your character, you come in, you're basically labeled as the cool guy of everything because you're a Spectre, and that's awesome. And then like you hit that plot hook where all of a sudden you're on a mission, everything's going as planned, and then it takes that left turn. All of a sudden, the world opens up in a way you've never seen it before. Suddenly, wait, there's eldritch beings in this universe that are controlling everything?
Yeah, there is.
It's so good.
Oh, and for... I think it's that same game. Didn't they go underwater? Like, there was like an underwater chapter with like big daddies and little sisters? Or is that different?
Yes, there was. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because going back to like, the body hack thing... like they took these, essentially you can call it like a small patronage or something, but like you could flavor like, oh, my spell was this, where like I'm taking this drug or this body enhancement, which is very addicting, to get a something out of it. And you know you can weave those into your sci-fis. One of the I forgot the author. I'm gonna get kicked by the GF later.
I'm gonna reach my foot across the state of Texas to kick you specifically.
No. Where it's it was something along the lines of with like the supernatural being explained as something scientific. There was this great like powerful, what we would call a wizard, and they asked him like, oh, do you believe in ghosts and all these things? Like, no, I don't believe in that nonsense. As they open up a portal and walk into hell, like, I believe in science. And like they go into hell, like, and it was the quote that I love was that the supernatural is just natural. It just needs to be explained.
It was a book series, you said?
Yeah.
It sounds very Dresden Files to me.
Could be. Dresden Files is pretty good. I think
Dresden Files, it was like magic, but it had like a scientific explanation to it or something of the sort.
We technically have, because my bro Nick gave me the RPG for the Dresden Files, which is pretty much high detective, dystopian future with medieval characters or like races. And it's like, you're Batman, but you're also like Adam Warlock. Go do things. Which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So for I think the Fae, Fiend, Celestial, and Old Ones, we kind of get those grasped, just because they're pretty, you use a lot in literature and they use a lot in the games and everything that we're reading. But let's talk about the little boys that aren't in the, you know, they're the sidelines every now and then. The three that popped into my head, which I'm sure there's more, is Elemental, Draconic, and Undead. What would a greater Elemental or a Dragon or Undead want with somebody? Enough that they like, here's magic, go do things.
There's also, I know that Unearthed Arcana recently started adding more subclasses to things. They also now have a Warlock pack to the Jinn, I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
How is that not just sorcerers?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'll go good if you want to keep talking about the Draconic and the Elemental.
It was more like an open-ended question.
Fine.
Yeah, how does a Jinn, I guess, if you set me free, I'll give you all these powers?
I guess. Let me look this up real quick.
I mean, because I guess
Pact of the Genie. That's what they're calling it.
Yeah.
Either way.
It feels like sometimes it's like as an example, the spellless ranger is like, then why aren't you a fighter with a bow?
Yeah.
I don't.
I have grappled with that myself. I'm like, hey, I want to make this character a ranger, but really, I just want to use a bow. So why don't I just be a fighter with a bow?
Yeah, it's. I mean, that might have sounded naked to some people.
Hey, First of all, I love rangers.
Rangers are freaking powerful.
They are amazing. Once you're in your preferred terrain, you're just unstoppable.
Yeah, they which
and I think that's why people have to throw so much flack at them, because they get jealous.
Baby. Which I told Jeremiah, because he was there a little bit with Ronnie, with Moonbrock before he left. His favorite terrain was the Underdark. Guess what his favorite enemy was?
Aberrations.
Yep.
Wow, it's like he was built for that entire mission.
He was 100% completely coincidentally built to be the best character in the book for that.
All right, so I have up the Pact of the Genie.
Yes.
So as it reads on the D&D Beyond official, unofficial, Unearthed Arcana, which of course it's always saying this is a playtest material, so it's not official. Well, it's you can use it for your games, but not for like Adventures League and et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
So, all right. So you have made a pact with one of the rarest kinds of genie, a noble genie. Such entities are rulers of vast fiefs, I guess, on the elemental planes and have great influence over lesser genies and elemental creatures. Noble genies are varied in their motivations, but are all arrogant and wield power that rivals that of lesser deities. They delight in turning the table on mortals who so love to bind genies into servitude, readily enter that expand their reach across the multiverse. You choose your patron's kind or determine it randomly. So they have like a table for different types of genies. So you have a Dao, you have a genie, which is DJIMM, an Afriti, and a Merid.
So water, fire, earth, air.
Captain Planet, yes.
Yeah. But that's cool. I don't know if warlocks technically have a pact to the elementals, because elementals tend not to give a crap about anything. They're just forces of nature.
I guess this is
their flavor.
This is their flavor of elemental pacts.
Okay, that makes sense. As we got a message from Shortbeard on chat here saying that I believe that Jinn and D&D aren't essentially like bound to lamps. They're free, powerful, magical spirits. But once they're in prison, they're the big baddie that we all they're Aladdin essentially. Also,
yeah, basically.
I think someone is shooting a shout out to you in chat, Vic.
What's up? What's happening?
You just have to read it.
Do you love Arian, Vic? Jury's still out.
I don't even know what Arian is.
Arian is Lynn's ranger that she created. He's a what's the subclass? Like not a planeswalker, but he's the one that deals with like otherworldly stuff. That specific subclass of ranger.
Okay.
I do love him. I also love to make fun of him.
Making fun is a sort of love.
It's a type of love. It's a love I've learned.
So I didn't know that the Jinn were a warlock.
I didn't know they had.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because that was one of my questions. Like, what about elemental? There's great beings of elemental. Like I don't know about specifically like Faerun lore, but like in the next campaign, one of the things that I'm writing is that there's elementals who are essentially as strong as gods. They just don't care or have the will or wants of attraction or love, because like the elemental plane of water is essentially a deity. The elemental plane of fire, all these things. So by that, they couldn't contract with other entities and have clerics and paladins and warlocks and maybe even sorcerers, because sorcerers like to just get it on with everybody. Yeah,
so I'm reading through this genie subclass, and oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so first level, you get your patron gifts you with a magical vessel that grants you a measure of the genie's power. So it's basically like your arcane focus, but you're carrying around a magic lamp or something.
Sure.
Let's see. As an action, you can magically vanish and enter your vessel, so you're basically becoming a genie through this pact.
Are you serious? I'm gonna get inside this lamp.
Okay, so as an action, you can magically vanish and enter your vessel, which remains in the space you left. The interior of the bottle is extra-dimensional space in the shape of a 20-foot radius cylinder, 20 feet high, and it resembles your vessel. The interior is comfortably appointed with cushions, basically a genie lamp. You exit the vessel early so you can remain inside the vessel for up to a number of hours equal to twice your proficiency bonus.
Okay.
You exit the vessel early if you use a bonus action to leave, if you die or if the vessel is destroyed. So you leave it early if you use a bonus action, if you die or the vessel's destroyed.
Okay. I can totally see Orctet's vessel just being a flask.
Yes. If the vessel is destroyed,
shenanigans coming from.
If the vessel's destroyed, every object stored there harmlessly appears. So it's basically a bag of holding as well for yourself.
Yeah, it's a little bit, yeah.
Nice.
Interesting.
Horizontal walker, yes, I remember horizontal walkers.
Elemental gift is your 6th level feature. You begin to take on characteristics of your patron's kind. You now have resistance to a damage type determined by your patron's kinds, such as Dao has bludgeoning, Thunder for Genie, Fire for Freeti, etc., etc.
Cool.
Sanctuary Vessel. When you enter your Genie's Vessel, the bottled respite feature, you can now choose up to 5 willing creatures that you can see within 30 feet of you. You have your own tiny hut.
Yeah. Tiny hut is.
And then, here's a fun one. Level 14, you entreat your patron to grant you a small wish. As an action, you can speak your desire to your Genie's Vessel, requesting the effect of one spell that is 6th level or lower, and has a casting time of 1. I know, I was about to say, you get a free wish. Fuck that shit.
Yeah. OP.
This ain't no divine intervention. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Spell can be... it has a casting time of 1 action. Spell can be from any class's spell list, and you don't need to meet the requirements in that spell, including costly components. The spell, because I've been constantly being made fun of for how I say that. The spell simply takes effect as part of this action. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a 1d4 long rest.
Okay. So you get a free 6th level spell. Cool.
Basically.
Yeah, that's
and that's your
fine.
14th level feature.
That's
so
not bad. That's fine.
That's not terrible.
That's
it's
not
pretty
terrible.
alright. Yeah.
Which that's pretty cool. I was thinking of I don't think D&D technically at this moment has. I know they have the Undying one, which I think you're pretty much a lich. I'm not sure. I haven't really read too much on it.
The undead one?
Yeah.
I can pull that up.
Sure. I think it's like either you're in servitude to an undead, you were brought back. It's one of those like, you owe me. I brought you back from the dead. Type of things. Like, you have no saying in this contract. You're doing what I'm telling you to do. Kind of like what's that movie with Christopher Walken's and Vince, what's his name, Aragorn, the actor, Viggo Mortensen. Yeah
Mortensen.
Prophecy.
Yeah,
the Prophecy.
Yeah,
where this could also be like an angel literally came down to earth and was like, hey, you dead person,
hey, you
come back. Okay, I don't know how to drive a car. Go drive that car for me. That's technically a Patreon pact. They agreed in their moments of death to serve this angel, and then the angel's like, all right, go drive things. How do I use a computer?
Okay, so from what I'm reading here, your patrons are essentially liches.
Makes sense. They're strong beings.
Death holds no sway over your patron, who has unlocked the secrets of everlasting life. Although such a prize, like all power, comes at a price. Once mortal, the Undying has seen mortal lifetimes pass within seasons. Flavor. Okay, so beings of this sort, including Vecna, Lord of the Hand, and I, the Dreadloos, the Lich Queen Vol, the Undying Court of Arenal, I guess, Vlaakith, Lich Queen of the Githyanki, and the Deathless Wizard, Fistendantilus.
The Githyanki have Lich Queens? That's scary.
I know, that's super scary.
That's what I thought too.
They're already scary, but oh my god.
Giths are scary, man.
Giths are scary. Hey. They're not Giths. They're Australians.
What?
Because they're from the astral plane.
Wait, go home. Go
yes.
home. Please pack your bags, go home.
I am home.
You're done for the day.
Okay. Alright, goodbye, guys.
Bye. Githyanki and Githzerai are Australians, yes. I love it.
Okay, so so for the Undying, you learn Spare the Dying as a cantrip. You at 6th level, Defy Death. You give yourself vitality when you cheat death, or when you help someone else cheat it. You can regain hit points equal to 1d8 your Constitution modifier. Undying Nature. You can hold your breath indefinitely. That's a cool trick.
That is kind of cool.
You don't require food, water, or sleep, although you still require rest to reduce exhaustion. Indestructible Life at level 14. You partake of some of the true secrets of the Undying. On your turn, you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d8 plus your Warlock level. Additionally, if you put a severed body part of yours back in place when you use this feature, the part reattaches. So Deadpool rules.
Yeah, Deadpool rolls. Got it.
Deadpool rolls. You just become Deadpool. That's all you do.
Deadpool would be a warlock, wouldn't he?
Yeah, accidentally.
Yeah.
I mean, technically.
Undead warlock that for some reason has like hexblade abilities.
Thanos tried to be a warlock, but Death said no.
No.
She said no. I'm not impressed.
Oh, does he? And Shelby is saying that he had the Lich Queen and the rioted Red Dragon. Is that Baldur's Gate 3 you're talking about there?
Ooh.
Which totally stole a lot of ideas. Just saying. The creators of Dungeons & Dragons obviously
All I know is when the trailer for Baldur's Gate 3 dropped, I looked at Tabitha and I was like, "Hey, you guys glad you're not in Baldur's Gate anymore?"
You guys wonder why I was so freaked out when I'm like, can we not be here at all? We're level 1. There's beholders and mind flayers everywhere. Please, let's leave.
3.
Oh, excuse me, level 3.
Hey, you had your Panthers. It's fine.
That's true. That's true. I have 8 Panthers. I am unstoppable.
8 Panthers. You're fine. It was balanced.
It was. We have a fox and 2 clerics. Throw more green dragons at us.
Hey, there's an angel boy here.
Hello.
What angel boy? We weren't talking about you.
No, we weren't talking about you at all. Anyway, so let's talk about paladins and their oath breaking. Ariel, do you have comments?
Ooh.
I think they are badass.
Paladins tend to be pretty PA.
Did that, he had a Oathbreaker Paladin in one of our other games, and the way he tied that into his backstory was pretty baller, honestly. We're going back to his temple essentially, and he worshipped, I believe it was Satan. And when we got there, he discovered that every single person at the temple, his mentor, and all of them had been killed.
Oh man!
That's kind of what made him snap. Oof. It was like a total shift in his whole character, and I mean, it was great. It really was.
That's
great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oathbreakers are cool. I have a weird love for them.
There's something romanticized, I guess, in our culture about the person who rebelled for good reasons.
Yeah. I mean, it's
out of their strength,
of...
they're going to achieve greater good.
Yeah. Well, it's. I'm trying to think how to word this, because for me, it's always like. You grow up being told one thing, and then you find out that thing that you've been told does not vibe with you anymore, and then you realize that you have to forge your own path. Mm-hmm. And so it's taking that moment to try to do what you believe is right in that moment.
Yeah. And
who's to say if it's truly right or not? It's what your personal belief is. And if that stops aligning with your God, then hey, what happens?
That was one of the early options for Ariel was Oathbreaker.
Technically,
Had gone
I mean, in all technicalities.
Lyra, and then having to pretty much break that for the greater good. But then I kind of thought about it some more, and I'm like, oh, how long has it been since that happened? Oh, it's been 200 years, so he would have had other things to do, so maybe Oathbreaker wouldn't be the best for him at this point. So then I figured, since I had gone through that paradigm shift of being with Lyra and then Palor and all them, I kind of figured once I found that Pantheon, Oath of the Pantheon, I was like, okay, this actually fits far better this current arc.
Yeah. Which is a cool thing. Going a little bit back onto breaking oaths or breaking your contract or your patronage, a cool thing which I don't know if when Critical Role when the Travis broke the contract with their fishy boy and then went into the Wild Mother. It's essentially have that arc of discovery, have those couple of games of them learning how to manage things on their own, because it's going to be an adjustment. It has to be, right? How many years of worship or servitude have you had to these individuals and you finally had the strength to say, no, enough is enough. I'm going to do blank now. But once they do, reshape those levels into something else that they're learning how to, from let's say Warlock to Paladin, reshape those levels of Warlock into Paladin as they're slowly growing and learning how to do these things. But one of the things that you said, Vic, that we're going to use a lot in the next campaign from Wednesday, because right now they're doing the Harry Potter thing, and they really want to continue that, but we want a different flavor. So, because right now they're currently in the 40s, but we're going to go back in time to like the Arthurian tales. So Merlin is technically a real life entity in Harry Potter, so let's go back there. And one of the things, as the Crusades are happening and all that stuff, one of the players like had a very interesting question, like, what if I'm a paladin of Christ? And like, how does that work in your world? Like, oh, well, and I thought about, like, I don't think that it matters what the name behind your god is. I think for that campaign, because how different wizards are, because if that was so, then technically to keep the flavor of Harry Potter, there will be paladins here of all different religions, like, and nowadays, but they're not, they're just wizards. So like, how can you be considered paladin? How can we take these classes? And one of the things is like, well, it doesn't matter what you had faith in, is that you have faith, and you are a wizard born individual. You're just manifesting your powers within your faith. Hence paladin, clerics, and maybe even warlocks, which I thought was like a cool little twist that we came up with. And since it's getting to that time, let's do the fun things. Oh, as I'm reading something from stream that I read Metal AF, and that is my entire worldview. That's
Metal AF.
So apparently, Sharpie said I did a stream where I read about them from Tombs of Foes, which Tombs of Foes is amazing. That the Githyanki Queen sits on a throne of Mind Flayer skulls and has the cushion of an elder brain, which is Metal AF, which I agree. The Githyanki Lich Queen sitting on a skull of Illithids and having an elder brain cushioned leather under her tuchus is the most metal thing I have heard.
That is mwah.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Very mwah, mwah. So we have a couple people here. Let's play a game.
Okay.
So we have Fae, Fiend, Celestial, and Otherworld. So we have 4 patrons.
I don't know what the question is, but Celestial.
The answer is Celestial.
I was gonna say Fiend.
So let's make some pacts, shall we? It doesn't really matter how like you can put a god in if you want, or a specific character. This will just for fun as a little like brainstorming exercise.
Yeah.
So phase.
Enters West mode.
So phase.
Yep, phase,
Let's make a pact with the Arc Fae. Arc Faes, I don't think they want your soul. They're not interested in that. I think our Faes want chaos, or some unpredictable creatures. They also might have a ferocity to like vengefulness, or like you have to be harsh and protect nature at all costs. So, with a couple little things here and there, those little flavors, I'll just throw it out into the ether. Let's make a contract for a Fae. For an Arc Fae. If an Arc Fae wanted to grant you abilities, what would you think they want in return?
I should not think in West's brain. I should not think in West's brain because I can't.
Don't.
I just assume everyone wants to be my friend.
that's how. Yeah, that's how you get hurt.
Yeah, I know, West.
I'm thinking things like tricks, maybe. Like you have to perform a couple of pranks here and there, even if it involves causing your friends some sort of discomfort.
Oh, I don't like that. West don't like that.
Okay,
West. He doesn't like to hurt his friends.
Well, what about just throwing a pie at their face?
Okay, that's funny. Like that whole prank where Wes took the transmutation cube and put it on top of Ariel and turned it into mud. Yeah, that was fun.
That was definitely.
I think all the pranks that Wes would do would just be centered at Ariel because it's just funny distressing him with like his robe's getting dirty or something.
No comment.
Technically, out of Ariel's frustration, he did create a cantrip that is a very specific version of prestidigitation that just cleans your clothes.
Right. It's amazing. I love it.
And Wes taking feathers that he finds from like a chicken or something and like throwing them around by Ariel and be like, "Oh my God, Ariel, you're molting!"
God.
You know, you say that. I think Wes would be great in a Fey contract.
He probably would, honestly. He's very in tune with nature, I feel.
Yeah.
That's why he treats Trixie like she's a real girl.
And he's really rash with his emotions, or not rash. He doesn't hide his emotions well, which
I would say he'd wear them on his sleeve, but he doesn't have sleeves.
Yeah, and the Fae are also that quick to anger, quick to love, quick to jealousy. Like they are emotion cranked up to 11.
Very empathic. So yeah, he kind of just vibes off of like the immediate emotion of the moment. What? Yes, Tabitha, as you have this excited look on your face.
Yes.
Can I help you? Nothing? Okay. Cole doesn't want to make a pact with the Fae? What would you do, Cole? What would you do to make a pact with the Fae?
No, Cole just has a pact with Asmodeus, apparently.
Wow, that was like really presumptuous of you, Ariel. That's so fucking rude. Do you think every tiefling does?
No comment.
Well, just to refresh that conversation from the Death Tyrant, it said that
I think
that
Tyrant was
Cole
making some
has
perfect
blood resembling something with an A, and so does Ariel. That technically Cole and Ariel are brothers.
Yeah.
You have a brother!
I'm going through
It's
early
one of those things where
midlife
Cole's
crisis
sister and he goes, "Oh God, you're right."
Baby
And,
brother!
And it's technically like really, 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 really Intermillennia's really baby brother. Yeah, that might be it.
It's like, as we've said, Cole is baby.
Cole is baby.
Oh, his baby. God.
Hey, who's good at reading words?
Oh, I'm good at reading words. What's up?
We got an Arc Fae one in chat.
Alright, let me read this out. Archfey, a powerful member of the Unseelie Court, demands that you tell a scary story whenever you travel to a new place. More goodies to you if you give a child a nightmare.
That's cool.
Victor would fucking love that.
That's
Of course.
There's nothing he loves more than making a child cry.
oh my god.
He's an asshole, okay?
Oh, I love it. So let's as a crack here, don't know how to speak.
My blood hunter might actually dig that too.
Ooh. Fiends and demons. So fiends, devils and demons. I think it's easy to do one of these because devils, it's the classic.
Yeah, I just bought him a beer.
Yeah, read the contract, and I will get your soul at the end of this.
By the way, I'm gonna get your soul at the end of this. Yeah, he signs it anyway. Okay.
Shining was pretty good. I've always had this conundrum, and it wasn't until I talked to the GF a couple of months ago about this very specific thing. Like, why would, in God's good name, would anyone make a contract with the devil? Why?
Because
you're only gonna get hurt.
He sells it so fucking good.
And that's the thing. It's how I was explaining to me. It's like, well, it's desperation. They're telling you what you want to hear. They're not going to someone who will say no.
Exactly.
They're going to someone who is desperate. They're going to someone who has no other option.
Yeah.
And at least your mortal body will have some comfort. Your everlasting soul, that's a different conversation for a different time. I'm suffering now. I need relief now. And I think those might be the ways to make contracts with these individuals, to have a patronage or to worship them, versus like a demon who is chaotic in nature. I'm always wrapped of their who are the people that worship like the members of the Abyss, the your dukes and your councils of the Abyss, and because it's all literally just carnage and chaos. If heaven isn't there and hell isn't there, the Abyss will just consume everything. So why give to these worships? And it's I think it's a really hard case to say that anyone of sound logical mind would ever pay attention to these individuals. It's always someone who's a little off, which that can go into a completely different conversation about how like media takes mental illness and all that stuff. But it does beg the question of someone of sound mind who has no negativity in their life would ever make these deals. So these individuals prey on those who are weak or vulnerable, and I think that's the only real way to make a a fiendish contract with any of these classes.
So,
yes.
On the topic of fiendish contracts.
Yep. Yeah, Wes, what's up?
No, and this is not a question for Wes.
Oh, okay.
What's your opinion on marriage as a contract?
I think it's dumb. I'm not a.
So proposing a marriage contract with the demon to make a pact.
Fucking.
Where is this question coming from? Is Wes and Paddington going to get married?
No, this is coming from Lynn. I guarantee you.
I mean, Ariel could officiate the wedding. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh my god! Can
That's funny.
Ariel officiate this and Grayson getting married?
Please, yes.
I need that art immediately.
Oh. Yes.
Oh my god, I need that art.
It's been it has certainly been taken and ran with into the wind, especially in my Saltmarsh game. Grayson has specifically said, "Oh, I wrote it myself."
I wonder what's in the contract that this was like, I'll
Boots.
do it.
Boots.
But
Boots.
OG Wis, OG Dis. Well, that's the thing. It's this has been thrown out into the eighth there, and it's like, do what you will with the boy. Because I'm very specific with my characters, and they're all asexual. So it's do what you will. I love the idea of Dis and high thighs though. It pleases my soul.
He's not the one in the thigh highs. He's the one enjoying the thigh highs.
Oh my.
You're right. So that could be a contract right there.
Yes.
Wear thigh highs, and I'll give you Eldritch Blast.
Yes. That my god, is that why Grayson's always wearing thigh high boots? That was the contract.
Little do you know.
Listen.
Yes.
I thought it was pretty awesome that in my Saltmarsh game, Grayson literally summoned Dis with a summon greater fiend spell. I had to look that spell up too, and I was like, wait, is this spell? And it is a wizard spell, and it is also a warlock spell. So I'm like, that could be either or.
So there is a how do I say this politely? There is an Ariel version of that spell instead of summon greater fiend.
In the Celestial?
Yeah, that will become very interesting after this Friday's game.
Oh no!
I'll just leave it at that. If you keep with that mindset, that will be a very interesting spell to learn. I'll leave it at that because of you'll see. Oh, I love it. Speaking of celestials,
I'm googling the spell. Sorry.
I'm like, you mean the one spell the cleric in the party can learn?
Hold on, I'm researching.
Oh my god, man.
So, speaking of celestials, Colton, angels answering your calls, maybe saving your life, you having to do good within the celestial being's perspective. What would be like some sort of contract or patronage between them?
Between,
like if
You have to give me soap.
Just anybody, it doesn't matter. But just throwing the question out into the aether. If you want to, sure.
I mean, we've kind of seen a little bit of conflict between Ariel and Paylor already, where Ariel is wanting, he has his own goals and his own aspirations to become his own, like, god, I guess you could say. And Paylor knows that, and they've kind of butted heads before. It hasn't gotten to the point where Paylor is like, you know what, no, I'm cutting you off.
No more allowance for you.
But I mean, it did get close to that in one of our games a while back, and I was sitting there like sweating as you were talking about like what Paylor was saying in return to Ariel, about how Paylor knew what I was thinking when I had these thoughts that weren't really in line with the dogma of Paylor and what it is that Paylor stands for. So. I mean, there's Oathbreakers, yes. I haven't gotten to the point, though, where I've personally, in a game where my paladin has done something so egregious or so against his deity that the deity's like, all right, your contract, you're severing my ties with you, essentially. But I mean, I think that is something that is definitely possible, and it will happen if Ariel gets to achieve what he wants, because Ariel can't really be a god but also worship Paylor as a servant. It doesn't. I don't think it really works that way.
I kind of think about it as like if Ariel and Paylor were in like a classical sitcom, the day that is achieved is like Paylor dropping him off at college, like, right, do be proud, son.
No, that's not how I see it at all.
There's two paths for Ariel, at least that I know of, and I can see. And that is, he's going to be forced to make a decision that cuts him off from Paylor prematurely, God forbid, but that's an option. Another option would be, since Paylor brought Ariel back and said, you know, your work's not done, you have one more chance. I feel like once Ariel achieves what he needs to in regards to what Paylor wants of him, which Ariel is still trying to figure that out. He doesn't know Paylor's goals, because Ariel's goals are completely different from Paylor's to his knowledge. I think if he achieves what it is that Paylor wants, then Paylor can pretty much say you're released from your contract, or you're released from your bond to me, essentially. And that'll probably be the time that Ariel more or less ascends to the seat of joy.
Oh man, it's like you're kinda in my head. The things I would have you do. No,
I'm really looking forward to what the rest of this game has in store for Ariel, especially now that we're at Whitestone. I'm like, ooh, it's gonna get spicy.
Yeah, things are gonna get a little bit hairy. Maybe hairy's not the right word. Sorry, maybe like wingy. Yeah, I think that otherworldly contracts are probably the best for the dungeon master to have in their hands.
It's fun to play with,
because it doesn't need to make sense at all.
Yeah, no. Well, it's not that it doesn't make sense to those of the Mortal Coil, because the Eldritch ones see the bigger picture, apparently.
Yeah, and one of the things that this is also I'm prying heavy on this, which isn't a spoiler or anything. Like this will be like the first paragraph in the new campaign, but it's the gods weren't here first. There's other things out there in the aether.
I always love
far beyond. So these creatures, yeah, like you said, they don't have to make sense out of anything. They're you eating that apple right now because for some reason your patron said go eat this apple, like, is very important to the grand scheme of like them escaping from their like ethereal bond and becoming this great a Cthulhian creature. This what are they called in MTG? Eldrazian titan that just destroys things. But
the presence of eldritch beings as being the ancient ones that came before the current pantheon. I've always loved concepts like that, because it kind of like anecdote time. It reminds me of a time when me and my siblings used to go to the old Catholic church, and there was a point where my brother was really annoying, and he decided to ask the priest. He's like, "Hey, so God created the universe, right?" The priest's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, so who created God?" And he just like, go sit down.
This is not your time to talk right now.
You do not have.
Don't talk about it.
Don't. You don't have the talking stick. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Heathen, leave my sight.
Cole would have done that.
Cole would have done
Oh
that.
my God, Cole. He's
Yeah.
like sitting there in Sunday school, and they're just like, "I have a question. Also, where did the dogs go?"
Where do dogs? Do they go to heaven?
I gotta happen, and then you're like, "No, that's not happening." You're like, "I don't want this. This is stupid."
God.
Which shameless plug here. Theros has a very interesting way how the gods manifested themselves into the material plane.
Yeah, Theros is very interesting in its lore.
Yeah, which essentially it's the gods. People came first, and then the gods came after, and it was the people's collective will of what they needed, like a sun god or a god of the underworld.
Love that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially for my I would say for my own personal writings, I usually like to depict gods as not necessarily as celestial beings, not as like actual like all powerful omnipotent gods, but just fey entities that just kind of wandered into the wrong place at the wrong time, and people are like, "Wow, you're really powerful and you use magic, you must be a god." And they're like, "Yeah, definitely, absolutely, pray to me." Give me offerings. I want free stuff. So basically, at least in my worlds, the deities are always fey creatures that are running the long con.
Hey, I mean that works. You
I have a
you have some that don't want to, like the Traveler.
Traveler's just like, I just, somehow I became a god because some little girl really wished really hard on her imaginary friend.
You guys currently in Sacred World, you are in the Inner Seas map, which again, when we discussed like the beginning of the campaign, Greyhawk is a pantheon, so any of the gods in the Inner Seas would be considered minor gods for the sake of just simplicity. There are some gods in the pantheon that were mortal not that long ago, because there is
Alien. I like to think of that guy.
Yeah, which I think.
Vibe with that guy.
Yeah, definitely, he would vibe so hard with him. Which, just for a long story short, is a guy who got so drunk and was a high enough level adventurer that he wandered into a temple, and then beat the temple and did the trial of the gods, and at the end of it, which he has no idea how he did it because he was just blacked out, drunk. He's like, "I'm a god now?" Yeah, yes. You beat the temple. You did everything we asked you, and you succeeded. Oh my. What are my powers? I don't know. You're a god. You tell us. Partying and beer. Let's go.
We're going to throw the biggest fucking rager right now.
Pretty much. So, I mean, wisely enough, the gods are like, let's take this book out of the material plane, burn it forever. Yeah. Well,
Taylor said, I had enough of this shit.
No. Bye.
Can't have people accidentally becoming gods.
Exactly. Can't do that.
That does seem like a very orc death thing to happen, though.
It would be.
Wanders in completely pissed drunk, beats all the temple things. Oh, you're a god now. Okay, cracks open beer.
All right.
And
what's your point?
You mean I wasn't already?
Oh man. All right. Well, it's that time, y'all. Want to thank everyone for sticking here and chatting with us in chat. Chatting with us in chat. There we go. Redundancy.
Chatting with us in chat.
Chatter 10. For all you guys for being part of it. I love talking to you guys about things here and there, and this podcast is literally just an excuse for me to talk to you guys. so bored.
We're so lonely.
I'm so lonely. I don't ever get to see my friends. We only play D&D like 3 times a week.
It's fine. Only 3 times a week.
God, sometimes it's a little exhausting. But all right, thank you guys so much for sticking tuned. Thank you guys so much for listening in. I absolutely love you, all you guys in chat. Thank you.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll edit this, put it on Divine and Conqueror's YouTube, and it'll be probably on Spotify by tomorrow morning. So we'll see you next time. Adios.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.